What is it about the Israelites that you hate? I know you don't hate them personally. I'm talking about the teachings. What is it about the teachings of the Israelites that you hate most?
Everything.
And then I'm going to ask Shakka the same question.
Everything.
We got to make sure which Israelites we're talking about.
Yeah.
When I was in Newark yesterday, I visited the Church of God and Saints of Christ, the original ones from William Crowley himself.
Okay.
I don't hate anything about those folks. They were the kindest, nicest, most down-to-earth people you could hope to meet, and I don't hate anything about them. In fact, I love, now we have disagreements, especially about, they think Crowley was a prophet, and I don't. But I would want to differentiate. So they're called Kagasak. They're not well known. They don't go out in the street. But there's 4 of them, right? And there's 4 different bodies right in Newark across the, Okay. What I hate about the Lone West, Bibbins-inspired Israelites, who basically came out of Harlem, is not themselves, it is their doctrine, because they open up a Bible and said, God says this. And then they say the most hateful, disgusting, vile, filthy thing with the open Bible. Cool. That's my real problem, because it's done with as if it's under the authority of God. But really, it's an excuse to justify the flesh. You're going to have a bunch of women, you're going to have slaves. It's all clearly flesh stuff. And so that's the problem. Plus,
mentally ill stuff.
Their level of aggression against Christians. So, they're showing up at our churches. They're constantly calling us out.
Are you serious? You're lying.
Yeah, the IUSC does a thing called the Church Blitz. Just look at the videos. They're outside. Bring out your pastor.
They did that to Geno Jennings, brother.
I do not believe that. I don't know.
Yo, Shakka, they did that to Geno Jennings. You can look it up right now on YouTube.
But he's aggressive himself. They do it to regular old guys who are just feeding their community, and they'll call them out,
that's not cool.
And so, to me, that type of thing is so disingenuous, especially when I show up to where they are, and they call the cops on me.
Right, they don't like that.
Or they in the middle of a conversation, they shut it down, and say, "Oh, my leader told me I can't speak to you anymore." That shows the lack of authenticity. Now, not all of them are like that, and some of them have changed. I used to have a big problem with Sakari. I still do, as far as their practice. However, I can call one of them on the phone now, and they will have a respectful sit-down. I think that's to their credit, because before they were like, no conversation, and I used to have a lot of respect for GMS. They would have discussions with me. Their new policy is call the cops on Vocab. If you Google call police Vocab Malone and GMS, you'll find literally 30 videos. IUIC has a similar policy. Usually they don't
always see what they do if I show them.
So I just feel like they're doing this, and then the second they get resistance, they act like they're being picked on. So I think they're destructive to the community and to the society at large.
I agree.
And so
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I agree with them. Straight up, I agree with them 100%.
And the fact they do it under the auspices of the Bible is what makes it the most odious and offensive to somebody who believes the Bible is the Word of God. That's what it is.
All right, pass the mic to Shakka. Shakka, same question. What is it about the Hebrew Israelites you hate the most? I'm talking about as far as their doctrine is, their teaching is, not them personally. Come on, Shakka. This is the last question. Me out.
Now, before we do that, there's something I want to say.
Okay. Come on, answer the question.
No, relax. My thing is this. They're ignorant, and I just don't like ignorance. I don't care who it's coming from. It could come from the Kemetic community. It could come from the Christian community, the Muslim community. I don't like ignorance, and I don't like falsehood, because it hurt people. In the end, people end up suffering because of it. So that's my stance on any group. I don't care who you are. If your narrative is a self-serving narrative and chooses to ignore facts, I have no respect for you. And I will probably end up speaking to you that way, which is why I try to avoid most people. And I only have these kind of conversations with people who I actually genuinely have respect for. If I didn't have respect for Vocab, bro would not be sitting here. It couldn't happen. Right? It would not be happening. He's sitting here because I genuinely, authentically respect him. Period. Why? I respect people who genuinely study and who are passionate about what they're learning about, right? I think that any person who's purporting to be a scholar, and that includes me, anyone who you do your own scholarship a disservice if you make a a priori choice not to follow where the evidence leads you.
Who do you see right here? Among his kindred, among his brethren,
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you brethren, you fellow believers of this truth. Okay, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I got this video. I actually saw the video with Sad Netta, but the elder of GMS South Carolina 8, who do great videos, brought this out. I don't know if he's responding or, well, I just saw his video and I'm responding off of that. And I actually watched the whole thing. The point was that these guys are already relevant. And I was I saw that picture of Vocab and the people behind him. So I just actually saw this picture and put it together because these particular people that he says he was joking about are spitting on Christians, right? And these people and even Christians, they go and say that these are the true people of God, right? Fleshly. But for whatever reason, when we speak of who we are fleshly, it doesn't matter. It's the spirit all of a sudden. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. So anyway, this guy, Shakka, Ahmose, it looks like they all congregated together. And it almost looked like Vocab is like the cleanest looking one. And that's sad. Them Egyptians, man. If you guys want to be Egyptians so bad, carry your ass back to Egypt and get some of them damn bone plates, man. Do that. Why don't you do that for a change? Let's look up one of those guys. Let's go here. Let's look up the real Egyptians, right? Yeah, take a look at this. Why won't Brother Polite, the one who raped his own daughter and was charged with it, who was also Nuwapian Egyptologist, black conscious, all those crazy doctrines put together? Nope. All they can say is they talk about us. Somebody had to call the police on him, right? But what about Sad Netta and Shakka Ahmose running up on the ISBK and they have that great debate out there? They all do it. So it's all a joke, right? So why don't you guys get some of these lip plates, man? They got custom specials. I think they even got them on eBay. I'm not going to look it up for you. Why don't you have your wives do things like this? These are women, by the way. I think it's customary for the women, mostly. Look at this. Right? Look at that. Look like a big cup holder, right? Like they can catch fish with that or something. I don't know. They got customized lip plates. See, the reason why I got that clip in there, let me go back to the clip. Reason why I got this clip in here. See, they want us to be a certain way. It makes sense why the Christians are hooking up with the black conscious and the Africans and the Egyptians, because they want to keep us there as being Egyptians and Africans. And you see the Shakka Ahmose, this weird, irrelevant, I don't think he cut his string off his head, so maybe that was his strength been cut. You ain't see him much since then. So he sits there in these flip-flops, and who knows what the hell he's wearing, because it looks jacked up. But he's got all these things that he hates the Hebrew Israelites. But then they sit there and talk about Christianity and how it was a white man's book and destroyed this. But somehow they're still there having conversations with each other. So shouldn't Vocab Malone and the Egyptologists be going at it? You know why they don't go at it? Because nobody will watch. So what they do, they get and talk about the Hebrew Israelites because that's where the funding is. That's where the money's going, right? To stop this truth. And it ain't working. Chariots are popping up. Prophecies are kicking off. And they trying to keep us in this ideology of Christian doctrine. So what happened is Vocab will rather side and hook up with black consciousness and Egyptians with strings out of their heads, right? Just to try to neutralize what we're teaching. This doctrine that they're pushing or whatever they got going together, everybody can see this is phony. It's all a joke. But what people will do, the Christians that Vocab support, they're going to be in agreement against Vocab with the black Hebrew, so-called black Hebrew Israelites, and then you'll see the people with the black conscious community, Egyptologists, they'll support each other also to come against the black Hebrew Israelites, so-called. So now, where's the threat? As long as we're gangbangers and drug dealers and shooters and killers, no hate for that. No videos on that, no talk on that. No genocide talk about how this truth have saved young men, and I see literally raised young men in the truth, and how they're not drug dealers and gangbangers, thieves, adulterers. We see Christianity hasn't worked. The young men come out of the Christian church and carjack people. So we see that doesn't work, right? So let's get 1 Corinthians 14:38. Right? So at the end of the day, if you're going to come up and run up on different camps and different groups, it's like these people want like a everlasting debate, like a purgatory type situation where they wake up every day, throw on a hat, brush their teeth, and can't wait to go into the studio and sit there and constantly debate and bring more and more confusion. You're going to have a group of people who follow Steve Biko, from the founder of the Black Conscious community, right? Who spawned off of Sylvester, I can't remember his name, off the Pan-African community, and which was funded by the British government, okay, and the American government. So you see what all these guys have in common is funding. So let's join forces and bring it all together to bring more confusion, to stop these guys from working out. Hell, I'm not surprised they didn't bring atheists up in there. Maybe a couple of Satanists. Why do y'all hate the black Hebrew Israelites? And Shakka Ahmose, sitting over there with his flip-flops on, said he just hates them. They're doing a disservice to the community. Wow, do you want, what the hell you want, a bunch of little 15-year-old gangbangers with Egyptian strings hanging out their head, man, and flip-flops? Okay, and the ankh around their neck? See, it seems like these guys should be conversating on one another on what doctrine is true or not. Don't be discussing our doctrine. Y'all need to make sure y'all get y'all doctrines together. You know, like I said, then the debate's not going to work with a Christian and an Egyptologist. You're not going to get views on that. You're going to get views off the controversy. But what we do in One West, I'll say even One West, you don't see us on a large scale running around shooting people, harming people. But you know, they set things up to make it seem like we're doing that. But no outcry for the producers of the rap music, the same producers of those people that support Vocab Malone that got him started, as I did a video years back. His own kind has produced rap music, right? And that blue pill music, okay? Anyway, but if a man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Why does it say that? Let's read some commentary. Barnes Notes and Noble. But if any man be ignorant, if any man affects to be ignorant of my authority, or whether I have a right to command, if he affects to doubt whether I am inspired and whether what I utter is accordance with the will of God. So he said he'll sit down with Sakari. Now, Sakari doesn't believe everything the letters of Paul say. They don't believe it's all authenticated. They don't understand the argument that was going on back and forth, or the situation of what Paul had to do certain things to make the situation work, like in 1 Corinthians 7 when he said, I speak not the Lord, meaning going into the law, because they were getting rid of their wives and the adultery that was going on in the church. He said, I speak, the will of the Father. You know, there's certain things, like even what Yahushua did when he healed on the Sabbath day, that was unusual to the Pharisees. You see? So he had to do certain things to correct the church and bring them back through faith, and not just look at the church as some amusement hall like you see today. Same thing. See, you see no difference. You see these black consciousness who remind you of the Greeks who adopted a lot of these Egyptian, the Egyptians who adopted a lot of the Greek culture. So you see the same damn thing happening. You know, the Egyptians adopted the Greek culture. The Greeks was a multitude of nations. So you see here, Vocab, a Christian, Greek. Okay, Greek and Christians are sitting there right now. Anyway, let him be ignorant at his own peril, destruction. That's what peril mean. Let him remain so and abide the consequences. I shall not take any further trouble to debate with him. I have stated my authority. So as a group, we have debated. Now what? This is not about the Lord anymore. Now it's about entertainment and wanting to be right. It goes beyond that. Our job is to wake up the elect. I'll say a lot of One West camps, they're not about waking up the elect. They're about numbers. They're about visuals. They're about scenery, distractions, entertainment. Broaden it to make it seem like they're waking up black people as if they're going over to Heavenly Father, as He's the one that's doing it. But this is how it go. I have delivered the commands of God, and now if he disregards them and still doubts whether all this is said by divine authority, let him abide the consequences of rejecting the law of God. I have given for proof of my divine commission. I have nothing more to say on that head. And now if he chooses to remain ignorant or incredulity, which goes to unbelieving, not knowing and unbelieving, the fault is his own and must be answered, for it is of God. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Matthew 10:14, and whosoever shall not receive you. Now we're one body, Ephesians 4:4. There's one body, one spirit, one calling of your hope. So you can't say, okay, I went to the GMS camp in Cleveland. We wiped the dust of our feet. So now we're going to go into the GMS camp of DC or Baltimore or Philly or Virginia, which they did go to Virginia as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or California or whatever. We got so many camps. Midwest, Minnesota. So now what are we going to say then? Because we're one body. So if you come up to us after coming up to several, really after they came up to the apostles of Great Millstone, we really didn't have to deal with him no more after that. That was it. They're not believing this doctrine. So what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? It's all a joke. And now they have to join forces to try to guilt us into wanting to continue to debate and use, like fear tactics, or let me say, they want to use a form of making us feel awful. So we will stand up and say, or let me say, use our pride. They want us to use pride so we can say, nah, man, we're going to start debating you. And then we start debating them again, and they get you in a moment. Then they cut the video and put up what they want to put up. Anyway, whosoever shall not receive you nor hear your words, this is Matthew 10:14, when ye depart out of that city, the house or city, shake the dust off your feet. They literally did that. So you have no business going back. So we have no business debating you. So if you come up like, an ignorant person and you try to debate us, why don't Vocab go back to the land of those people and try to wake them up? They have a mission, right? Also, when you go to Acts 11:26, the Jews were Christians. It said the disciples were called Christians. So Christians ain't just everybody or anybody. So why aren't they telling those people, right, that, wait a minute, y'all can't be these people either, because the real people of God is everywhere. The real people of God is the Spirit. Seems like they only tell us that. Yep, that's how it goes. That's all I want to show.